Good day, everyone. It is a fantastically beautiful sunny Saturday here in northern Saskatchewan. It might be +9, although it feels a lot warmer in the sun. And maybe that's nothing to write home about for many of you who live in most areas of the populated world, but it's pretty fantastic after a very long winter here. Um, it's not that maybe the winter was colder than average annually or whatever. I don't know where we were at on that front, but it was a long winter in the sense that it was a slow melt and a late spring. So this weather is so overdue and so welcome. And it just puts me in wonderful spirits. And I figured it was a great time to make a video that I've been meaning to make and needing to make for a long time. It's well overdue. Can't really tell how well this is recording lighting wise because of how bright it is, but I don't care. And that's kind of part of this whole message. So you might get all kinds of background sounds today. I've got animals out here with me. I've got a husband who doesn't know I'm recording and might just walk out onto the deck. Could be birds, there could be vehicles, doesn't matter. We're just going to go for it. So basically, I wanted to give a quick update to the people who have been following me since the beginning, and I wanted to apologize. Now, I know that the purpose of your lives does not revolve around Kelly Lamb's YouTube channel. I am not that narcissistic, but I do want to apologize anyway because I just went MIA, and I know a lot of you knew that I went over to Rebel and was doing reporting for several months there, and obviously didn't have a ton of time to do content here. That's a pretty all-consuming job. Even though I was just part-time, it's really hard to do a job like that part-time because you're constantly thinking about these major issues. You're getting emails, you're getting messages, you're writing back, you're doing meetings, you're always in the zone. So it's pretty all-consuming. And I really enjoyed it, but there was definitely no time for making content. And after that, I dealt with some health issues, which I conquered pretty quickly within a few months and was ready to get back at it, and then got nailed with some other health issues. And I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of the details of that, but I'll just say that I basically made a decision, not consciously, but I was going to do all of these things and get back into a channel and had all these big plans for when I got better. Because I'm kind of a black or white thinker in that way when it comes to my own accomplishments and projects. I'm a bit all or nothing. And maybe it's not so bad to have perfectionist tendencies in general if you're just trying to make good content. I mean, this is how I started my channel, right? A cell phone. I had terrible audio quality, terrible video quality and lighting, no idea what I was doing. I just had a fire in my heart and a message to give. My music was very grassroots. Everything was grassroots. And over the years, I got a bit better at what I was doing. I got better at production quality. I had better software, better hardware, more of an idea of what I was doing, trying to shorten my message down and make it more concise. All of that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Then, of course, I worked for Rebel and I got to see what it was like to have a post-production team behind me, which was great. But with that came this sort of burden for someone like myself to want things to look a certain way or be a certain way or bust. And that is not helpful. That has basically been the reason that I haven't made content, which means that I have missed out on so many opportunities to speak when I knew that I should speak, when I had something to say or something to sing, a message to get out there. And so I guess I apologize to God, which I've already made peace with him, had my repentance moment, but I apologize to you for just not being around um, and passing on what I believe to be important information and insights and experiences. So with that out of the way, I'll explain a little more about what God's been doing in my life and where I've been and what this channel will look like going forward and what it means to me to have to make a video without thinking about all of those details because it's not easy. I have to go against all of my sort of bad habits. So I want to be making content that is genuine, grassroots, and thoughtful. Yes, I want to spend time thinking about what I want to say. I want to be slow to speak, but I don't want it to be neurotic like it was. And maybe this message will resonate with some of you. Maybe there's things you've been putting off because you can't do it in the way that you feel is best. Maybe the control element of your life is hard, and if you can't do it right, you're not going to do it at all. Or maybe you're putting something off until you feel like you're in this position where you can do it in a way that's up to your standards, I guess. And maybe this is a message for you as well to learn what I have learned the hard way over this past several months and even a couple of years, really, that that really isn't what matters. And when you're called to say something, say it. When you're called to do something, do it. So Basically, I left Rebel in about March of 2022, shortly after the Tracker Convoy. I did a lot of coverage for them. Mostly, I wasn't able to go, so I did a lot of coverage, mostly just writing. And I had the opportunity to stay on just doing writing after that. Um, but I chose not to. I felt led to leave that whole realm behind. Shortly after, a few months after, I also left Twitter, which, while it isn't something that I ever felt like was important to me, it, if I'm being honest, was a time waster, an addicting time waster, and something that was just feeding my ego. I'm not a particularly shallow person, and I've never considered myself a prideful person, but that's one lesson God's been teaching me, is that I do have idols in my life, as we all do. And I think, in the words of Bishop Barron, my idol is, or was, or whatever you want to call it, I still struggle with it, but is glory. And wanting to, appreciating the numbers, the followers. Oh, I was able to connect with this awesome person at the Daily Wire. Oh, this person responded to my message because I was a verified account before you could buy a verified account. Those things mattered to me way too much. And I don't know why, except that I'm just a human being, and we all have our sins and our crosses to bear. So God pulled me away from all of that, and even though it was hard, I walked away from it all, and I knew I needed a reset, but I still held on after Rebel. I was still involved, and even though I was focusing on my health, I never let go of any of it. I never really truly stopped to just focus in on health, family, home, hearth, all of those things that I could do. And I dealt with a health challenge, which was a gastrointestinal issue that just had to do with some nerve dysfunction after my surgery, some things that were a little bit funky. And I got through that really well thanks to a fantastic gastroenterologist in California that I consulted with online, because I wasn't allowed to travel because I was not, what's the word? My medical procedures weren't up to date and in line with the rest of the world. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. That's a whole different story that I'll do a video on altogether. But I I got through that. I was feeling fantastic, and I was ready to get back into the swing of things and back into politics and back into content creation and making amazing videos, and was going to do really good quality recordings. And I continuously was having trouble with my studio. So I would get trouble with the software, and then I'd fix it, and then there'd be trouble with hardware. So I'd fix that. And then there was trouble with more software, and it was just one thing after another. And then I just gave up. And then I got nailed with a health issue in July of last year. So it's been 9 months now. A pain condition that has been relentless and impossible to treat. Thankfully, I'm seeing some light at the end of the tunnel now. But it's been a trial and error of everything: natural, pharmaceutical, medical. I've tried so many things, and I have just gotten nowhere. And that's been part of what I've had to give up, is control. I've always been able to get my health under control. No matter how much it fought me, I always found a way through it, but I have not, until very recently, found a way through it at all. And it has forced me to my knees more times than I can tell you. It has forced me to absolute submission, just crying out the name of Jesus. Um, Not eloquent prayers, sometimes just very childish prayers, very basic, just asking for mercy, which He's given me. He's been there, He's sustained me through it, but it's been hard. I've had moments of anger and wrestling with God. I've questioned my faith more than I can tell you. But ultimately, I've never lost my faith. I've only grown in it. And while I haven't had fellowship, because I honestly, I've been laid up, I've been a total hermit. I really haven't had a lot of social outings. I haven't been attending services. I've mostly just been worshiping from home. I probably watch 2 sermons a day on average from various Bible-based churches and denominations. Um, but it's been hard. It's been a really weird season in my life, and this winter was rank. It was so rank. So as I'm going through all of this, I'm learning all of these lessons, and I'm learning why God has pulled me out of all of these things. And while I don't regret my time with Rebel, I did my very best. I spoke truth. I met amazing people. I did a lot of good work. I'm really, really proud of the work that I did with Rebel, and God can turn anything into a good thing. But I do think that it was a bit of a test for me, because at that time I had an opportunity and was looking at possibly turning this channel into speaking against the New Age. And yes, talking about politics, my journey out of leftism, darkness disguised as light being a theme, speaking to the bleeding heart, you know, softies in the world, as to how a lot of the language of what we're hearing when it comes to progressivism is a lie. and is actually going to lead to far more pain and destruction of the very people that we claim to want to help, or that we do in genuine good faith want to help. Those are the things I've wanted to focus on. And of course, hymns, getting back into the old beautiful hymns that are forgotten and away from a lot of this progressive music. Although some of it's very good, a lot of it's very narcissistic and very theologically weak. Um, I had all these dreams and these goals, but I was given this opportunity to do stuff for Rebel. It kind of came as a beginning, just a special project to help out some people in the province with an important message, which was standing against the vax mandates and standing for unity. And that was great, but it turned into this sort of career path, which again, no regrets, but I had an opportunity to go that way or to go the other way. And the other way is more humble. The other way gets you less followers, gets you more hate, probably, although I shouldn't say that. There's a fair bit of hate when you're a Rebel reporter, obviously. Um, but it was certainly less glory, so to speak. And I chose the other route. And some of you warned me about how intense it would be and making sure I was taking care of myself. And I did to the best of my ability. But as I said, it's all encompassing. It's really hard. So I went down that path instead. And then when I went through my health stuff, which isn't stress related, it wasn't that. I think it would have happened regardless, despite the fact that it kind of came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere at a time where I was really doing well. Like last summer, I was so on my game. I finally felt like myself after the surgery. Everything had healed. I was getting stronger. I was gaining weight. Felt really, really good. And then it just whammy hit me. Um, it wasn't stress, but that took a lot out of me spiritually, and I have had to rebuild from that and learn a lot of lessons and start listening to God instead of always speaking. And I know that He has called me into some form of ministry for years, and I have pushed that aside or decided that if I'm going to do it, it's going to be when I'm better, and then I'm going to have this wonderful ministry, and it's going to look like this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and it's going to have this tenants, and it's all planned out in my head as this marvelous full-time endeavor, and not recognizing that God can call us to ministry to just speak to people like this, just to throw a 2-minute video out, and instead of sending a message to a friend, put it on a video, right? So I've been learning how to do that, and I'm realizing that I need to reset, and that's what I want to focus on from here on in. The world is in a weird place, and there's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of issues I want to talk about. Mostly it's about the occult and the new age seeping in as very, spiritual but not religious, sort of painted ideology. It's seeping into the churches. We have the progressive and tolerant, compassionate policies ruining people's lives, but they sound so good. And these are the things I want to talk about. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit rambly and long, but essentially that's where this channel is going. And I will be making content, but it won't be to the quality that it was before. And I may shift some things around. I may do things a little differently, just for the sake of my own sanity. But I have stuff that I know I need to say and do, and I haven't been doing it, and I need to start. So, I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll stick around. If it's, I'm probably getting 200 views maybe at most for these videos. I don't know how many people are still watching. Doesn't really matter. God will do with it what He wants to, and it will not be up to me. And I think that's the control part I've had to let go. So I hope in all of that you've gained some, I don't know, wisdom, which is not mine, but is from the Father. I hope that you're all doing really well. And I thank you for anyone who stuck around waiting it out and stayed subscribed to this channel, despite the fact that it lied dormant completely. Um, I don't know exactly what this will look like, and I think that's the beautiful part of it, is all of my best laid plans and control. It hasn't worked, and I've had to surrender them. So if you have something like that in your life today, I encourage you to surrender it to God. It doesn't mean being lazy. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It just means stepping away from your own expectations and your own control and allowing Him to work through whatever situation you're actually in, meeting you where you're actually at. And that is one of the hardest things for some people to do, especially like a type A personality. So in the future, I'm going to be speaking about, yeah, the new age. I'm going to do my testimony finally, which is so long overdue. I need to do a proper video where I'm just talking about my journey out of the new age. I've spoken about it in bits and pieces. It needs to be out there. I recently got an email from someone on a comment I left on an Elisa Childers podcast about a woman who left Wicca, and I mentioned I was an ex-New Ager, and he wrote me an email, found my channel, went to my About section, wrote me an email and asked, hey, you don't have a video out. Where's your testimony? And it's like, that's a great question. Where's my testimony? Oh, well, just as with everything else, I was afraid and I was a perfectionist. And those two things have kept me from doing what I'm supposed to do. So you can expect that video to come out soon. And I'm also going to be talking a lot about the gender ideology stuff. I think God has allowed me to go through even more women's health, hormonal stuff, put it that way. I'm in surgical menopause, which has been interesting, and hormonal struggles and the chemicals that sometimes people have to be on for hormones are not to be taken lightly, and I'm terrified that this is affecting kids. I need to speak about it. I need to talk about it. There's a lot of other stuff too, but just I see people that are really smart and really well intentioned in my life, outside of politics, people that are buying into this stuff by osmosis because they want to be good people and they believe this is the only way, and they've never heard another side of it. And granted, there's a million wonderful, truthful, amazing conservatives and truth-speaking people out there, but I have to say, I feel like there's a gap in the market, so to speak, when it comes to bleeding heart ex-lefties that are speaking truth in love and in kindness. And I want to be able to provide more of that perspective and join the other voices who are doing that, not be an agent of chaos, not be someone who's pushing fear. I want to look at solutions. I want to look at honesty, and I want to look at the way that we can love people where they're at and still speak truth. So that's what you can expect coming up in this channel. I apologize again for my absence, but you know what? It was necessary, and God has taught me some incredible lessons, and I'm a stronger person for it. I'm a better person for it, and I'm still very, very humbly learning every day, and carrying my cross, which is health. Recognizing that God can heal me, He is able, but it is up to Him. It is up to His will. So if you want to pray for me, I will not in any way say no to that. I would greatly appreciate your prayers for full and miraculous healing, or healing through other means. As I said, we are kind of maybe getting somewhere finally, after this long period, but I would also appreciate your prayers on just being obedient and speaking as I'm getting the info from the Spirit and not speaking from my own mind and not trying to take control. And I will continue to pray for all of those who watch and listen to this channel. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys are well. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful sunny day wherever you are. And may God bless you all abundantly. Take care.